Where we last left off, Fushi had to say goodbye to his wonderful journey with March and Perona after the tragic death of March. He now returns to journeying alone, carrying the lessons and memories he shared with his previous group. In this episode, join us as we continue to observe the exciting travels of our hero, Fushi the Immortal. After the tragic March's death, Fushi returned to his journey to seek more stimulation. While he's on his journey, he becomes hungry and climbs up a fruit tree using March's form. While eating, he smelled a familiar scent. He followed the scent and there he met the old lady once again. The old lady thought that March was still alive because Fushi was using her form, which confused her. So Fushi turns back to his boy form and then leaves. But the old lady insists that he should take her along with him. The next day, Fushi and the old lady travel together. While they were traveling, the old lady hallucinated and tried to eat our hero due to extreme hunger. So Fushi climbs the nearest tree to get away from her. While he was on the top of the tree, he gave the old lady a fruit from the tree, making the old lady happy because he just saved her from hunger. Then, they saw a map showing that there was a town nearby. So, she immediately draws a map of how she and Fushi can go to her hometown. While she was drawing, Fushi got curious, so he took the paper from the old lady and started writing on it. Seeing how curious Fushi was, she told him that her name was Piorin and that she wanted Fushi to come along with her and teach him how to be a human. After days of traveling, they finally reached the town. There they rode a ship to go to Piorin's hometown. While they were inside the ship, Piorin asked how Fushi had lived in the past years. He told her that he was always alone until he met an unknown guy. He told Piorin that he doesn't remember that much and all he knows is that the man took care of him, so he tried to become like him. After riding the ship, they tried to rest in the forest for the night. While they were sleeping, a mysterious tree stabbed Fumi, taking away his boy form. Before our hero even tried to defend himself from the attack, a black hooded guy suddenly popped up, making everyone freeze. The hooded guy then told Fushi that he would help him beat his enemy, so he just needed to keep attacking it. Fushi struggled at first, but thanks to the hooded guy's help he defeated the tree in both his forms, the tree form. Fushi then asked the name of the hooded guy. The hooded guy replied, telling him that he is his creator and that they have an objective to preserve the world. After that, the hooded guy left, leaving him confused. The next day they finally reached Perona's hometown. One day a kid named Gugu and his brother Shin wanted to make a lot of money so they could build a huge mansion. Every day Gugu and his brother go to the local market to sell vegetables that they harvest every day. At the market, Gugu regularly sees a girl whom he's attracted to. In the afternoon, Gugu went back to his home and he saw Shin talking with 3 strangers. Gugu then opens the box where he and his brother stashed their money. He noticed that a few coins were missing, so he asked his brother if the 3 strangers found out about their money stash. But Shin told him that he should not accuse his friends. Later, Gugu offered Shin a bun which he bought from the market, but Shin declined the offer. But then a dog wanders up to their tent, so Gugu decides to share the bun with the dog. The next day, Gugu saw the same dog in front of his stall. It turns out that the owner of the dog was the girl he was attracted to, so he gave the dog back to the girl. The girl then gave Gugu a ring as thanks for bringing her dog back to her. Later that day, Gugu went back to their tent to meet his brother again. He then saw a note from his brother telling him that he would leave to make more money. Because of his brother's sudden departure, he felt depressed and thought about running in front of a speeding cart. As the cart passed him, a log fell off from the cart which almost hit him. The log rolled down from the hill, and Gugu noticed that the girl was at the bottom of the hill. He then saved the girl from danger, but in doing so the log smashed his face in the process. An old man witnessed the event, so he took Gugu back to his home to treat his wound. Back to the present, where Perona along with our hero Fushi finally went back home. Fushi met Gugu for the first time and they immediately became friends. Gugu then decided to show Fushi all the work that he needed to do since he would be living with them. At dinner time, Piorin and the old man jokingly said that they planned to sell Fushi to make a lot of money. Gugu was shocked after hearing that, so he told them that they would never take away Fushi from him because he's like a little brother to him. The next day, Gugu's crush went to the shop, causing him to blush. The girl asked them if they had a drink that could help her tend her wound. The girl first introduced herself. Her name was Rian, then she asked what his name was. Gugu was so happy that Rian was interested in him. But he couldn't be more wrong because the name that she was asking for was Fushi's. Later that day, Gugu was crying because he realized Rian was not interested in him. So, the old man gave Gugu advice that he should take this chance to become a better man. After hearing the old man's advice, he decided to start training to become stronger. The next morning, Rian offered herself to work at the shop for free, but in exchange the old man let him live there. The old man accepts her because he thinks that Rian working at the shop will help his business. At mealtime, Gugu was reluctant to let Rian work at the shop, but the old man told him that it was okay since they had enough room for her. The old man then told our hero that he shouldn't let Rian see his power because he didn't want to ruin the shop's reputation. After eating, Gugu wanted to know more about Fushi's abilities. Our hero showed him that he can create objects just by thinking about them. The following day, Rian started working at the wine shop and she immediately looked for Fushi. Gugu replied that he was not around and then he asked about her wound. Rian replied that the wound was not fully healed yet, but she could manage. Hearing that, Gugu went to the old man to ask for more medicine. The old man then took a highly distilled alcohol from his body. Gugu was shocked that was he able to do that, so the old man says that he inserted an organ into his back when he was unconscious. Shocked by the news, Gugu ran away and left the wine shop. Rian told the old man that what he did was wrong and that he should look for Gugu. But then Fushi showed up. Rian asked Fushi to look for Gugu, but Fushi was unwilling to look for Gugu. At night, Gugu realized that no one was looking for him, so he tried to remove the booze by himself. He did everything that he could to remove the booze, but all attempts failed. Gugu then tried to look for a job to earn more money. He went to his old master and he got accepted immediately. But the master told him why he was wearing a mask all day. He told him that because he got into an accident, he assured him that his body was healthy and ready for work. While working there, everyone around him called him a monster, but he decided to just ignore them. While having a meal with the master and his family, the master told his family that he decided to let Gugu live with them. But his eldest disagreed because he refused to live with a monster. So, the master retaliated and told his son to apologize to Gugu. Gugu told his master that it was okay and that he should look at his face for them to decide if they were still willing to let him live with them. In the end, the family decided to not let Gugu live with them, so Gugu left. The master apologized to Gugu and asked him not to hate them and that he still wanted to work with Gugu. Gugu assured him that he was okay and he would come back tomorrow for work. While walking away from the house, 3 dudes took away his mask and threw it at the pond. While getting the mask from the pond, he realizes that he doesn't need to wear the mask because it doesn't mean that he's less human without it. So, the morning after that, he decided to work without wearing the mask. Meanwhile, Fushi does all of Gugu's work but fails every time. So, he asked Pioran to teach him all the housework that he needed to do. But Pioran refused and asked Fushi that he should try to find Gugu instead. After working, Gugu went back to his old tent where his brother and him used to stay. There he started working out to remove the booze from his stomach. While working out, the eldest son threw a water bucket at him and told him that he should stop working for them. The next day, he tried to look for work to do, but everyone ran away from him before he even finished his sentence. He then remembered the ring that Rian gave him. He decided to sell the ring at a local pawn shop, but then he changed his mind. While wandering away, he saw his brother looking so thin and miserable. So, he gave the ring to his brother, telling him that could change his life. His brother noticed him and tried to call him, but Gugu told him that he didn't have any brother. At night, while he is resting in the tent, 2 guys try to kidnap him. But Fushi saved him before anything got worse. Gugu was happy that Fushi went to look for him even though he was afraid of the forest. While wandering, Fushi asked Gugu if he would be going back to the old man's place. He told him that no, because the old man inserted booze inside him without his knowing. Then he collapsed due to extreme hunger. Gugu asked our hero if he had any food with him. He told him no, but seeing Gugu's situation, he managed to make food using his ability. While Gugu is eating, they see Rian's dog. Fushi called the dog Jowan, but he was corrected by Gugu telling him that the dog's name is Mir. Gugu then asked him who Jowan was and he replied that that was the name that the first person he met called him. Gugu then concluded that his name was Jowan and the boy form he had was from Jowan's body. He also told him that if he also died, Fushi would be able to become like him, which makes him happy. Gugu also told him about his past, that he had a twin sister. One day their family moved away and left him and his brother alone. It turns out that the people he thought were his family were their employers. So Gugu thanked Fushi for being with him and for being the only person who cared about him. Later, Rian finally managed to find them thanks to Mir's help. She tried to drag Gugu back to the wine shop, but Gugu was being stubborn. She told Gugu that the old man was sorry and that he would remove the booze from his body for free. Gugu asked why she wanted to bring her back to the wine shop. She told him that it was because everyone in the wine shop loved him, including her. But Gugu still refused to go back because he had already thrown away his mask. He then told Rian the real purpose of the mask was to hide his face. Fushi offered to let him find the mask, leaving Rian and Gugu alone. While Fushi was gone, Rian decided to show Gugu her wound to make him feel better. Gugu was shocked at how tiny the wound was and told her that was nothing compared to his face. Rian then told Gugu about her life at her family's mansion. She told him that at the mansion she had a scripted life. Everything she does is controlled by her family and she felt like they were taking her freedom away from her. So Gugu told him that she was acting like a spoiled child and that she should go back to her family. But then Rian told him that her wound probably came from his father's enemy. She told him that someone pushed him from behind, causing her to have a wound. Later, Rian asked Gugu how he hurt his face. He told her that wouldn't tell her because she might hate him if she told her. She then asked him if he liked her, but Gugu replied the same. Rian remembered that she brought a mask along with her and gave it to Gugu. She also told Gugu that whether he's a monster or not, she's willing to accept Gugu. Hearing that, Gugu finally agreed to come back to the wine shop. Meanwhile, Fushi finally found Gugu's mask, but the hooded man suddenly appeared beside him, telling him that shouldn't get distracted because his enemy was searching for him. While Gugu and Rian are going back to the wine shop, a thug took Rian and planned to bring Rian back to her family's mansion for bounty. But thanks to Gugu, he saved Rian and ran away from the thug. After running away, Gugu realized that the mask Rian gave her was for herself to hide her face from her father's hired thug. Gugu then gave the mask back to Rian and she told her that he was starting to understand Rian. Fushi then suddenly pops up giving Gugu his mask. Then they encountered Rian's servant, so Gugu took Rian's hand and ran away from her. They used Fushi as a distraction by using March's form and pretended to be hurt. But then the tree monster suddenly came back attacking Fushi. So Gugu went back to see if Fushi was okay. Fushi and Gugu tried to fight the tree monster by themselves. They struggled to beat the tree monster, but then Gugu thought of a plan. He planned to use the torch that the servant left behind and blow the liquor from his body, causing the tree to burn. As he is about to execute the plan, it turns out that there's no more booze left on his body. So, he ran away to get more booze and asked Fushi to wait for him. While he's running, the alcohol inside him suddenly kicks in, which causes him to be tipsy. At the wine shop, he saw Rian and her family taking her. But Gugu ignored them and asked the old man to give him the strongest liquor they had. Rian asked where Fushi was, and he replied that he was in the forest. Bjorn realized the situation and asked the old man to just do exactly what Gugu asked him to do. The old man then gave Gugu the strongest booze he had. Riene's parents then tried to drag her away again, but Riene insisted that she wanted to stay at the wine shop. She only felt freedom at the wine shop. Riene's mother then told her that she would cancel her arranged marriage to bring Riene back to the mansion. Hearing that, Gugu left the wine shop, but before leaving he told them that it doesn't matter because the man who loves Riene the most was him. He then back to the forest beating the tree monster using the torch and the liquor the old man gave him. He then realized that Fushi was nowhere to be found. But then a light suddenly pops up. He followed the light, and the light led him to see a stone. Gugu picked up the rock, and then the hooded guy touched the stone, helping Fushi to regain his forms. The next morning, Fushi and the hooded guy are having a conversation. The hooded guy told Fushi that he should leave the shop if he wanted to become stronger. But he refused to leave. He told the hooded guy that he and Gugu would be able to beat the upcoming danger together. Riene then told Gugu that she would be going back to their mansion. Gugu told her that if she wasn't forced to make the decision, then he would approve it. A few years after, Gugu became jacked and Fushi started having. But even though years had already passed, nothing changed. Bjorn, the booze man, Riene, Gugu, and Fushi still live happily together.